For centuries, people have spoken of a figure who appears when life reaches its final breath, a silent presence cloaked in black, faceless, and inevitable. They call it the Grim Reaper. To some, it is a guide, leading souls safely into the afterlife. To others, it is a harbinger of fear, a reminder that no one escapes death. Myths, legends, and chilling tales surround this mysterious being, but the question remains, is the Reaper just a story, or does death truly wear a face? In 14th century, the image of the Grim Reaper first appeared in Europe during the Black Death. From Italy to England in the late Middle Ages, death was popularly depicted in art with one or multiple animate skeletons. Several Triumph of Death paintings from Italy in the 14th century show such skeletal characters, as well as death in the form of a long-haired woman-like figure with wings carrying a scythe. Italian Renaissance painter Francesco Pesolino characterized a feminine-looking, corpse-like standing figure of death with a scythe in his Triumphs of Love, Chastity, and Death, created around 1450. One of the oldest paintings with conventional, Grim Reaper elements, a skeletal character with a scythe circa 1460, by Jean Fouquet. During the Renaissance, artists began combining the features of skeletons and scythes together, possibly further inspired by the ancient Greek deity Kronos, god of time, and the similarly named Cronus, a Greek titan associated with the harvest, both of whom are known for wielding a scythe or sickle. Thanatos, the Greek god of death, may also be related, though he has few physical features of note. German Renaissance artist Albrecht Dürer crafted a variety of personifications of death, often emaciated or corpse-like old men. However, in one 1505 charcoal drawing he presents a crowned skeleton, a motif of the era sometimes called King Death, riding a horse and holding a scythe. A wooden figurine in an English church from 1640 portrayed a hooded and robed skeleton carrying a scythe and hourglass. The color black for the Grim Reaper's clothing may be as recent as the 19th century, related to the wearing of black at funerals. The full Grim Reaper appearance, hooded skeleton, black robe, and scythe, has become common only since the mid-19th century, for instance, as described in multiple Edgar Allan Poe short stories. The Ghost of Christmas, Yet to Come has a similar look in the classic 1843 novella, A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, silent and wearing a black cloak that conceals its whole face and body, with its only visible body part being a single gesturing hand. The term, Grim Reaper, only first emerged in English print in the 1840s. The Reaper has been variously portrayed in modern media ranging from books to films to television series to songs, in dramatic, comedic, and horrific works. Death, hooded with a pale man's face, is a prominent character in Ingmar Bergman's 1957 film The Seventh Seal. An archetypal Grim Reaper appears in Terry Pratchett's 1980s to 1990s fantasy comedy series of novels Discworld, simply named Death, the 1991 science fantasy comedy film Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, the 1998 video game Grim Fandango, and the 2000s animated television series The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. The character also makes occasional appearances in the ongoing animated comedy series Family Guy. Even today, stories of a cloaked figure persist. Nurses, doctors, and grieving families have reported a presence in the room as life fades. Whether myth, imagination, or something far more real, death still seems to wear a face. For some, the Grim Reaper is not evil, but a guide, leading souls across the boundary of life and death. Silent, impartial, inevitable. Yet darker tales whisper of a hunter, a shadow at the foot of the dying, or a knock at the door when death is near. Some even say those who see it too soon are cursed. The Grim Reaper is not usually seen as the one who decides life or death, that power belongs to fate, time or the divine. Instead, the reaper's role is that of a guide. When the final moment arrives, it appears to lead the soul away from the body and toward the next realm, whether that is heaven, hell, or something unknown. In some traditions, the reaper is impartial, silent, and even merciful, helping the dead find peace. But in darker tales, it is a hunter, a shadow at the foot of the dying, a figure knocking at your door in the dead of night. Some folklore warns that those who see the reaper before their time are cursed, marked for death. The mystery lies here: is the reaper a comforter, a guide, or a predator? Perhaps it is all three, reflecting our deepest fears and hopes about what happens when life ends. The Grim Reaper is one of the most recognized symbols of death, but behind the image of the hooded figure with a scythe are centuries of myths and beliefs. Number 1. The Harvester of Souls. The scythe is no accident. In many traditions, the reaper is seen as a farmer of souls, cutting lives down like ripe crops and gathering them for the afterlife. This belief grew strong during the plague years, when death came suddenly and in great numbers. Number 2. The Death Messenger. Some cultures believe the reaper appears not only at the moment of death, but just before, serving as a warning. A sudden shadow in the corner, a knock on the door, or the feeling of being watched were thought to be signs that the reaper was near. Number 3. The Neutral Guide. But not all tales cast the reaper as terrifying. Some say it is neither good nor evil, merely a guide. Silent, impartial, and eternal, it comes only to lead souls to the next world. Not a monster to fear, but the final companion every soul must meet. Number 4. Bargaining with the Reaper. Folklore tells of people who tried to outwit or bargain with the Grim Reaper. In some tales, clever tricksters delayed their death by distracting or trapping the reaper. But such victories were always temporary. Death, in the end, cannot be cheated. Number 5. The omnipresence of the reaper. The most chilling belief of all. That the Grim Reaper is everywhere at once. It does not travel, it does not wander. It is simply there, watching, waiting, until the moment your time runs out. Here's an old tale about the Grim Reaper, a figure that has haunted folklore for centuries: the farmer and the reaper. Long ago, in a quiet village, there lived a farmer who worked tirelessly to feed his family. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, he heard a knock at his door. Standing outside was a tall, hooded figure draped in black, carrying a great scythe. The farmer knew at once it was death. Terrified, the farmer begged, "Please, not tonight. I still have fields to sow and children to raise. Spare me a little longer." The Grim Reaper, silent and solemn, agreed to grant him one more year, but warned, "When the harvest ends next autumn, I will return, and no plea shall sway me." The farmer worked harder than ever, tending his crops and preparing his family for the day he would no longer be there. When autumn came again, the reaper appeared at the edge of the field. The farmer looked upon the ripe grain swaying in the wind and said, "At least my family will have bread to last the winter." The reaper raised his scythe, but paused for a moment. Some say death felt pity and gave the farmer one last smile before leading him away. Others claim death took him swiftly, without a word, leaving only silence among the stalks of wheat. And so, villagers say that when you hear the wind whispering through the fields at harvest time, it is the farmer's soul speaking with death, reminding all that life's seasons, like the crops, must come to an end. The Grim Reaper, a shadow draped in silence, a figure feared across centuries. But is he a monster, a myth, or merely a mirror of our greatest truth, that every life has an ending. Perhaps he is not our enemy, but the final guide we cannot escape. In the end, whether cloaked in terror or compassion, death comes for all, and when he does, the only question that remains is, will you walk with him willingly, or will you resist the inevitable? One thing is certain, the reaper waits, always closer than we dare to believe.